Okay, so in this video I'm going to show you how to create a dynamic slicer pane in Power BI. You may want to do this if you want to save space on your canvas or if you want to create an app-like feel for your users. So to get started, we're going to go up to Insert, press Image, and we're going to import our slicer image. We're going to shrink it down and drag it right up here. And then the next thing we're going to do is add in a rectangle. We're going to shrink that down a little bit, and then we're going to come over to the shape and round the corners. And then we're going to turn off the border and we're going to change the color to something more light. And then once we're done with that, we'll drag it up here, make it a little bit bigger. And next we'll import our X icon so that users can exit out of the slicer pane. And then we'll go ahead and add in our slicers. So the first one I'm going to do is add in the branch. And I'm going to want to make this a drop-down list. And I'm going to turn off the slicer header. And we'll drag it up here. I'm going to add in a text box and write in branch here. You don't have to do it like this. I just feel like it makes it look a little bit better whenever the title is right above the slicer and a little bit separate. I'm going to make the transparency 100%. I'm going to copy those two and paste it and drag it right below this first one. And the next slicer we're going to add in is the city. And now once we have all of our visual assets on the screen, I'm going to go into View, select Bookmarks and Selection, and I'm going to select all of these and group them together. And we're going to call that group Slicer. And then we're going to add in one bookmark, and this is going to be called Show Slicer. And we'll go ahead and add in another one called Hide Slicer. I'm going to deselect data from both of these, and then select selected visuals. And now what I'm going to do is make sure that the slicer is selected, and we're going to update the show slicer, and then I'm going to hide the slicer group and update the hide slicer bookmark. And it looks like the show slicer did a take, so we're going to update that one again. So now when I hit hide slicer, it hides it, and whenever I hit show slicer, it shows it. So the next thing we're going to do is tie actions to the images. So for this first one, we're going to attach the hide slicer action. And you can see if I hold down Control and click the X, it will exit out. And we're going to add the show slicer action to the filter icon. So now our users can go in and expand the slicers, and they can select a slicer and exit out, and it maintains that slicer. And that's how you create a dynamic slicer pane in Power BI.